But once I find him raised up again, that's it. That's it. That means whatever vices he's dealing with, whether it's alcohol, some type of gambling abuse, or is he overworked? I don't care what it is. You better get some help for that, boss. You better get some help for that before you can get me to come back in the home and expect me to continue to take these ass whoopings. Or you might end up like what Lorena Bobbitt did to LaBody, cut his Johnson off, and that's that.
In terms of, is cheating worse than physical abuse? I mean, I'm sure.
Just hold off on that. We're gonna get to that because that's the
okay.
So we're gonna get to it. All right, Ms. Taken, what are your thoughts? You're on mute, just so you know. Back on mute. Off mute. Back on mute.
Am I up now? Okay. All right. Yeah, on my end, it was still showing that it was X'd out as a mute. I am not of the mindset of staying in an abusive relationship. I don't think that, I do think endurance in a marriage is a necessity. I think all marriages will go through ups and downs. So I'm not one to say that at the sight of trouble, just bounce, right? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, when a situation gets to the point where it is a abuse, I will never advocate for someone to stick it out in an abusive situation. Now, staying married, yes, but doing that separately to give that person time to work on whatever the underlying issues that stem from the reason that they are being abusive, I'm okay with that. But I don't think, because in situations like that, the abuser and abusee, there's a kind of relationship that intertwines with that. And both people need healing. And it's very difficult to heal when you're still having that same dynamic with each other. So to just say, nope, you need to just, leave the marriage. No, but there may be time where you need to separate in order for the one who is being abused to learn, develop, and grow, to understand boundaries, to understand what, what they should or should not tolerate. And the person that is doing the abusing needs to understand that what they're doing is incorrect and learn some other skills to be able to better handle situations when they might get frustrated or what have you. But to tell somebody to stay in a situation where they're in each other's presence for that to occur, I'm just not, one to advocate for that. But I know also situations have happened. Like, I think, was it Jay or somebody who said, like, or no, it might have been Black Spider Guy, who said, like, sometimes a person is push, and then they react to that being pushed. I think that may be a little different than being being in a abusive relationship, because if that pattern of behavior is something that's very inconsistent and never happens, and then all of a sudden a person reached their limit and then they react, I don't consider that necessarily abuse. Because that's not a pattern of behavior.
All right. Let me go to you, Hank. What are your thoughts about it?
Man, I can't in my right mind tell somebody and do getting their ass goddamn whooped every goddamn day. Ain't no damn way I can sit there and tell somebody in my right mind, man, you just keep taking that ass whooping. It's going to get better. Nah, god damn. Ain't no damn. As my daughter, I'm going to tell my daughter, you stick it out. It's going to get better. One day, he going to decide to start whooping your goddamn ass in front of you and the daughter. Yeah, it's going to happen one day. No, bullshit, man. Fuck his ass. Then you get on the defense and you put a pistol to his ass. That's what I'm going to tell you. End him. if he ever do that to you, you end him. And don't you feel bad at all, because it's self-defense. I'm not going to let somebody whoop up on me and think they're going to get away with this on a regular basis. Every morning I'm trying to love them, care for them, and appreciate them, and to take an ass whooping? Oh, hell no. Now, I understand if you don't want to divorce them. I can agree with that. Separate yourself from them. If they get some help, they make some change. They got to show that they have really changed. It's not a front. It's not for a show just to get me back in the home. Okay, I'm cool with that. But once I find him raised up again, that's it. That's it. That means whatever vices he's dealing with, whether it's alcohol, some type of gambling abuse, or is he overworked? I don't care what it is. You better get some help for that, boss. You better get some help for that before you can get me to come back in the home and expect me to continue to take these ass whoopings. Or you might end up like what Lorena Bobbitt did to LaBody, cut his Johnson off, and that's that. Fuck that shit.
Yeah. Go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, it seems he doesn't condone physical abuse, given by the video and the example that he used about his daughter, right? Like showing up to the house and confronting, his daughter's husband about, putting his hands on her. And then later he kind of interjects and brings in, talks about abuse, but I think it's vague. And I think what he was trying to hit on, not so much abuse. I think that people go through hardship. People go through hard times, ups and downs. And I think that everybody did a good job of highlighting that. I don't condone physical abuse, and thank God I never grew up in a household or in a family dynamic where I seen that or that was something that was weaponized or used. Because I understand that conversations can get passionate, things can get heated. I know we're very, in the moment kind of people, especially if you have two people who are very stubborn in some way. But I think it's just as vitally important to understand and recognize each person, recognize your partner, and what are their triggers, how do they handle conflict, especially is it something that you got to talk to them at a certain moment. They got to be sitting down, because things are always going to be escalated, especially having a conversation about finances. Maybe the child got in trouble in school, he committed a crime, something like that. Sometimes these things happen. Life is always going to be lifing, and I think it's always important to kind of come back to a place of refuge where you both have a clear understanding of how to move forward, right? And I think people don't have enough of those conversations. That's why I always say, you got to always constantly check in with your person. And in terms of like those triggers of abuse, that's where a moment where conversations of like therapy needs to be bring up, counseling, especially, marriage counseling, group intervention, close loved ones, families, people who are within your community or close circle. And then also, if you're big into the church, maybe bringing your pastor into the conversation about what's currently going on in your marriage and some of the hardships that you're currently going through. Because it seems like there's two things. There's stresses and there are vices. And Hank did a really good job of introducing that. The vices are the drinking, the drug abuse, the gambling, the womanizing, right? Those are all types of vices. Now, stresses kind of lean on the side of, work is not giving me enough hours. I just lost my job. Like, I just got into a car accident. I just got, like, those are just stresses of life, things that we go in through, and those are ebb and flows. But I think it's important for people to understand how to navigate those, especially with your person, that doesn't lead or escalate into those hard moments into forms of abuse.